So recently we picked up the native hammer. We've already hit the water with it pretty much empty with the pedal drive only. We've tried it with the Garmin Force Current, and we've tried it with the Newport NK300 in a fixed motor position, meaning it was locked down, straight only, and all rudder steering. Today, however, we're gonna try something new. So what we've got today is the Wizard FCS foot steering kit, which I've got installed here. I've got a couple tips for you guys that I'll share with you in just a second. But we've got this set up smooth as butter. We're gonna actually take the NK300 HD. We're gonna load this onto it. And I've already run all the steering cables, so we should be set up. We've got our pulley system, reverse system, steering cables with a quick flip there, all nice and simple. So I wanna walk you through how I got this thing set up, because honestly, there's not a lot of information out there about it. And then we're gonna go hit the water, do some fishing, have some fun. Let's get to it. Paul's not here for this video, so I'm just gonna be Jeff today. Let's get into it. If y'all haven't set up the Wizard FCS system before, it's actually super simple, especially if you have a native or bona fide kayak. They are set for these specifically. But all you got to do is replace your factory screws that come pre-tapped on your native hammer. Just pull them out, pop in this quad rail. It's got tracks on all four sides. And then you're going to make sure that your foot peg is already installed. The other thing that I would say you should do with these is adjust your bearing tension there. For that, I'm gonna recommend you go to the link in the description below, because you're gonna get a better walkthrough on this from the actual engineers who design these things. So do what they say, not what I say. But here's where they leave the instructions out. Essentially, when you get your Wizard FCS kit, they give you a QR code. That directs you to a video where they install this on a bona fide XTR. The problem with that is this is a native hammer. They don't install the same way. So I'm gonna help you out here. Here's what you gotta do. Essentially, what matters is you gotta know where this steering line has to come through. And it has to come through right here next to the rail. This is the most direct route to your foot peg. And the more direct that route is, the less friction there is in the system. The less friction there is, the easier it is to steer, or the more smooth the steering is gonna be. So with the included through-hull pass-through kit that they have, this comes in the box with your Wizard FCS. You're gonna need a 3/8 inch bit. You're gonna drill a hole right here, carefully now, and you're gonna pop this thing in. I would recommend taking a bit of marine goop, putting it around the back side of this, and then pushing it in, holding it in place for a little bit, and then letting that dry. And that is going to give you a watertight seal on that, as well as just keep that piece from being loose or moving around. Definitely happy with how that came out. Of course, you could use E6000 or a couple other products out there too. Just get it glued in place is essentially what you got to do. So this one right here is definitely the hard one to install. Once you get that installed on both sides, everything gets so much easier. In the back section of the kayak, here at the stern, you can see that they've actually got this little angled section here. So super easy. When the bracket's not on, it's really easy to line this up. But again, same 3/8 inch drill bit will punch a hole in there, and then you're gonna do the same thing, a little marine goop on the back side of this through hole kit, and then you're gonna stick that in, let it dry, you're good to go. Mounting the bracket, super easy. The factory set screws just come out, pop back in with washers, you're good to go. The included bolts are too short, but you just take them out, and then Newport provides these when you get your bracket. So just pop those in. From here, you're gonna run your Spectra cable. This comes with the Wizard FCS kit. Bonafide has the best kind. It's actually like coated. So Big Adventures, aka Bonafide Native, sells the best version of this cord. So this is Spectra cord. You can find it under the brand names Dyneema, Amsteel. There's a bunch of other ones. I've found it online. I can't really find the coated one though. It's also like a UWHMP line or something like that. Whatever, you get the idea. So you want a 2mm or smaller line. The 2mm line is usually 550, 600 pound rated. So it's super durable, low stretch. It's what you want. Or just hit up Big Adventures or buy the Wizard FCS kit and you get the right steering cable with it. So that's what I'd recommend. It's the same stuff they use for their rudder lines actually too. So all you gotta do is feed this through. Now with the hammer, there is limited access to this area up here. So what I would recommend doing is you take your line and you feed it through the front end first. In other words, from bow to stern. So run it through here, push it back. You can open this hatch up, get access to it, push it back a little bit further, and then you can actually pull this and this. So just pop out this power link plate, pop out this little thing that I've never used ever, but it's a little cup holder piece back here. Pull that out, you got access to inside the hull. Now, once you're here, you're you're actually going to want to take some form of string or spare spectral line if you have some like I had, or just something that'll fit in here. Feed that in, tie a small knot to your main line, your main steering line that you're going to use, and then pull that through this section. This is a nightmare to try to feed through here just because these are really small access hatches. But once you got it through, all you got to do is tie it off to this carabiner. Now you're going to have a ton of slack line. So what I ended up doing, I just pushed my foot pegs all the way to the front, ran my line through. You go through the top hole, and then there's another hole in here, and this actually pulls and rotates for adjustments, right? And you're just gonna go through this hole and then through this hole. And for that, you just tie double overhand knot as a safety knot measure. It basically stays in place no matter what, you're good to go. And then notice I left about a 2-inch tag just in case you need to modify or adjust it at all. And then you're gonna take all the slack out until you can make your steering triangle on your motor even. You're gonna do a slip knot on this, which is basically an overhand knot where you just wrap around the main line, but that'll cinch tight. And then you do an extra overhand knot as a safety measure, and then you can clip this to your steering triangle and you're good to go. Other than that, you're just gonna have to run all your other Newport cables. Here's how I got mine laid out. Basically just go through these metal eyelets I get from Yak Attack. They are called the tie down eyelets, and they come in a 2-pack. Those things are amazing. Buy like 10 packs, you're gonna use them on all your builds. We use them all the time. So you run it through there just as a guide. And then I got it up here, and then Native already includes this anchor cleat, so I actually just doubled up on this. So it holds my rudder and it holds my motor when I pull this tight. That's just how I'm doing it. Works for me, kind of utilizing what I already have instead of getting another anchor cleat to lock this down. Then you're gonna run your reverse cord on the other side, and I did the same thing. Run it through the eyelet, run it all the way up. And then what I did is I got this Yak Attack cleat right here, and you can actually take your reverse line, like the handle there, you can pull it, and then you can just lock it there. That way you can hold your reverse position, right? Essentially all that does is pull a clip down that holds onto this bar so that your motor doesn't pop up on you when you hit reverse. Last thing, I ran my controller cable here, right? And I just zip tied it to that same tie down eyelet that I already had, just because there's a ton of slack line, and it runs up to here. Now in this case, I'm using the Yak Gadget side caddy. And this is pretty great for Millennium seats because they've got these bolts. It locks down real tight, so you can do that. However, I'm probably gonna switch this up because I would prefer to have the throttle on the left side. So I might have to rearrange this a little bit. We'll see how I feel about it today out on the water. But most likely I'll be switching it up to the Yak Attack controller mount. We'll see. I'm gonna try it the way I got it set up today. And depending on how that goes, we'll just go back to the lab. So the last thing I did here is the Hammer has a really cool battery hatch that perfectly fits a Low Pro. Get out of here. Awesome catch board. PS. Pow pow, that's pretty neat. So what I ended up doing is there's a power link plate in here. I took a Newport power cable that they send you when you get a Low Pro that has these awesome waterproof connectors. And you lay your Low Pro in here. The Yak Attack XL pass-through is kind of ideal for the 6-gauge, 8-gauge wires that you have there. Run that through. When you're facing in front of the kayak, positive goes left, negative goes right. And then you run it back here. You could do another XL if you want to. I opted on this port to use the normal size through hull. And then you just run that out to here. And then you want a waterproof cover. Newport sells these as well and includes them usually with the Low Pro. So I just got that attached. That stays plugged up. And then when your motor's mounted, plug it right in and it works. Like, I mean, I already lined it up, did a little dry steering, but we're gonna go out on the water and see how it plays out. I actually had an Anchor Wizard staged up here. Love the idea because it kind of fits perfectly to the bolts there. It can work with the motor just fine. Just don't run both at the same time, obviously. But it's definitely more ideal to go off of the bow. The problem is I haven't figured out a way where I can run this line without adding additional track. So if I were to run the anchor, I would probably set the Anchor Wizard here or it'd be back here. This is gonna have the most support here though. So it'd be like here, but then that anchor line needs to run around the hatch. It's gonna be a pain in the butt to open otherwise. And it can't basically because it ends up here, right? So from here to here, that is an angle going right over the hatch. So unfortunately, what you would have to do is set up another track. So I'd have to put a track here somewhere and then guide that line through an eyelet all the way up to here and then go over here to a chute or even just drop down right here would be fine. It can just go under the handle and drop out the front. That would be the ideal placement for an anchor. I decided it's not worth the hassle right now. I'm just ditching it entirely. So we're gonna go with motor and pedal drive. It means I can pull up on a spot, back pedal real quick, and just hold my spot with my pedaling. Still hands-free and still moving spot to spot very fast. So that is nice. The one other major issue that I see with the Hammer, these Newport throttles, they're really designed to go on the left-hand side, right? That's how it's structured. That's how it's set up. This throttle control would be, you know, sticking out this way. It's more ideal. I don't know about you guys, but that's what I feel is more ideal. However, when you have rudder steering involved like this, it has to go over there. One, like I just don't have a good spot. I can't put the side tray on because I'll end up bumping into my rudder here. And then two, if you wanted to steer with the rudder at all or adjust the rudder, it's like below your throttle or near your throttle. If you do a throttle stand up here, that's probably the best possible solution, and you just like push that throttle there. I don't know. It's just definitely not ideal. We're just gonna work through it and be fine. I am pretty dang happy with this setup though, so next thing we gotta do is we're gonna take this out to the water. I'm gonna bring the NK180 HD, and I'm also gonna bring the NK300 HD so we can go real fast. Now that I got foot steering, I feel good about that. So I think that's what we gotta do. Let's go do that. Let's hit the water. Out here on the Hammer, and we're gonna be doing some speed stuff today. We got the NK300. Let me just get her out first. Key on, motor on, leftward on. There we go. Get myself to a good spot here. Oh, I have a feeling we're gonna go real fast. Kill switch, engage. Let's do some speed things. What do you say? I'm a little sketched out. Freaking rudder's trying to turn on me. A little bit of power. Already going 4.5. I'm at 42%. Wow. There's 5. 50% is 5 miles an hour. All right, holding the rudder for safety. Hand on the throttle for safety. Let's go fast. Full out. Holy crap. 6. Directly into the wind right now. We're going 6.25. I just passed a bunch of staged up fish. Wow. That was sick. Turn radius achieved. 5 miles an hour. Oh my God. Oh, that's nuts. Okay. It feels faster than the Unlimited, but it's going like kind of a similar speed. I don't know if it's the weight I'm carrying or if I'm not on plane or what. Steering is working great. This is about the smoothest I've ever felt steering wise. Yeah, you can pretty much turn on a dime. It's probably the smoothest I've felt the NK300 steer. Normally it's a lot harder than this. Yeah, you see how that pedal drive is trying to get me? Like if I move my foot right now, yeah, it's trying to go. That's an ish. That's an issue. So I think what we gotta do is we actually gotta pull that. We're just gonna motor around for a little bit. All right, not going into the wind. Speed-wise, we are looking at 6.37. Just peeked that up there. 6.37, 6.3. I do notice like how you swivel your seat really adjusts the balance quite a bit. Also, it's really hard to steer at full speed, but if you back off, then it's really easy. So, something like the NK300, you just don't want to be steering at full out. But if you back off to like 70, 75%, you can steer pretty good. Still a little tippy too, so like I would not recommend steering at full speed anyways. You might get upset. Oh, jacking up my cast there. 24 fish. There we go. Got one. Surprise. All right. And we're on. There we go. And that's why. There we go. Took a minute, but we got back. There we go. Another one. Oh no. Oh. At the boat. At the boat. Get in here, big boy. Let's go. That is now the new fish of the day. Well, I'll tell you guys what, I'm friggin' cold. Sun just kind of, it's sort of out. It's like overcast. But that's a wrap on the native hammer. Hopefully this is helpful for you guys if you're interested in running a motor or if you're just looking at the hammer in general. I think the pedal drive's great. Sometimes when you're trying to play around in tight areas, little coves, you want to fish a point, you want to have a little more control in the wind, it can be tough. So it's really beneficial to throw some sort of motor on here. Now, of course, you could throw the bow mount up front. You do have to buy a separate plate from Native in order to do that. So that's just something to be aware of. But if you want to just go from the stock kayak to throwing on a Newport NK, your choice, 180 HD or the 300 HD, we've run both. The 180 HD, you're getting around 5.5 miles an hour, easy. With the 300, as you guys saw today, we're getting closer to 6.5, but not quite there. Now, that could have been wind. I gotta have a little bit of drag back there. I gotta see what's going on in the back, but 6.3 is what we topped out on. I'm pretty happy with that. I thought that was good, consistent speed. It's the acceleration that's money though. Like you can just go 0 to 6. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds to get to 6 miles an hour. It's just boom, you're there. So I really liked that. I think that as a necessity though, you gotta get the Wizard FCS kit. If you don't add the Wizard FCS, you are going to be upset. I had the 180 HD back there last week, and Paul was just turning super wide. It was like a 30-foot radius turn. So that's a bit annoying. That's a little frustrating. But if you add that Wizard FCS, you can turn on a dime, which is clutch. And it's all hands-free, you know, just steering with your feet here. Nice and easy, very smooth. Huge warning. Do not bump the throttle. So I think I'm gonna ditch the side plate personally. I've always liked having that on like the new canoe, but for some reason having it on this right side, it was like I bumped it 2 or 3 times. And if you're in a position where your feet are say like this and you bump it, you take a hard left turn on a dime at full throttle, you're gonna flip this boat. It is a little bit tippy. You gotta be aware of that out the gate. I feel very comfortable and confident in it. There are just some scenarios where I'm like, whoa, you know, you just feel like a little bit of tip there, right? It does have a bit of that because it is more kind of like a V shape than a lot of other kayaks that we've used, which is great for speed and it's great for keeping water from coming up over the bow at you. You guys saw us at full out speed, like there was no water coming over the front, which is cool. Very dry run. There's not even any water in the boat right now, so this does run a lot drier than like the Native Titan X, for example, in my experience. And then in general with steering at 50% or lower speeds, you can turn on a dime, no big deal, do donuts all the live long day. From 50 to 75%, it starts to get a little more sketchy. Above 75%, it's sketchy and it's hard to turn. So especially with the NK300. If you have the NK180, not nearly the same situation. But just be aware of that if you're grabbing the NK300. On really any kayak, when you go to steer this thing, it will always like really get some tension on your steering lines and it's going to be tough to turn. So back the throttle off, make your turn, get straight away, turn the throttle back up. That's my recommendation. Last thing on the Native hammer that's important is you're going to want to adjust your rudder. My rudder's a little bit loose right now. So when I go and I make a turn or I go in reverse, I did notice my rudder start to pull. And while it doesn't impart too much action on your actual turn, meaning it doesn't like throw you sideways, it does influence the turn a bit. What I've been doing, while it's not hands-free, is I put one hand on the rudder control while I'm going at faster speeds and while I'm in reverse. That's also why I added this little tether here, so I could keep my reverse cord up there or pull it up there when I want to go in reverse. That way I don't have to hold that cord while feathering the throttle and holding the rudder because I don't have 3 hands. I showed you guys in the beginning of the video a couple mods that I learned from Ramel Labrador, who is the guy who invented the Wizard FCS. He is the wizard. He's an awesome dude. He spent an hour on the phone with me, so shout out to Ramel for being just a fantastic human and really helping me out. As I showed you guys, you just got to run the line yourself. You could go above deck, which is really what Ramel like prefers to do, but the way I've got it set up, it's been very smooth. The steering line hasn't gotten bound up at all throughout the day, so I've had no issues whatsoever. If you run it this way, guarantee you'll be happy. It's something I can easily recommend. I mean, at the end of the day, I know we're talking about add-ons to a $3,700 kayak, and that's, you know, not an easy pill to swallow. But if you're already in the market to spend $3,700 on a kayak, chances are you're willing to spend a little bit more to add a motor and some convenient form of steering. So again, buy it or don't, it's up to you. I think this is cool. I'm really happy with this setup. So that's it for today. I'm gonna get back to doing a little bit of fishing and then get off the water. Thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. Make sure you smash that like, ring that notification bell, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. All right, bye.